In the beginning there was nothing. All was darkness. Say. There was nothing at all. Only the mother.
Only the mother.
She was Aluna. She was pure thought without form. She began to think.
She began to think.
The mother conceived the world in the darkness.
The mother conceived the world in the darkness.
She conceived us as ideas, as we think out a house before we begin to make it
As we
real.
think out a house before we begin to make it real.
She spun the thread,
She spun the thread,
spinning us all in the story,
spinning us all in the story, creating us in thought.
Creating us in thought. And then came the light, and the world was real.
And then came the light, and the world was real.
I first met Shibalata when he was 50. I was 48. He's 70 now. Around 20,000 Kogi live here, the heartland. They have no wheel, no writing, and do not welcome strangers. They believe their job is to take care of the world. Shibalata is called a mama. It means enlightened. He's training his daughter, who uses the name Francisca. The mamas said they wanted to work with me because the world is sick and dying, and we have to understand that. They decided to abandon centuries of caution and warn us. I came to the Sierra Nevada in 1988. Alana Ereiry, working for the BBC. The mummers said they wanted to send out a message.
I'm here. We all are here to give a warning.
The animals die, the trees dry up, people become ill. Many new illnesses will appear. There will be no cure or medicine for them.
They say that we mutilate the world because we do not remember the Great Mother.
That unless we do something, the world is coming to an end.
He has destroyed so much. Does he see? No. Understand? No. Start to understand, or what will happen? Right, that's it.
Then they waited, watched, and listened to nature.
A major earthquake hit Japan Friday afternoon, causing widespread devastation.
Predicts searing droughts, epic floods.
ماشي خجبا أزواكي مش خجبا ده هنقق أغزق نيوي لو تشغل يوبا هنا أغزق نيوي سينز واسينز نعم أقهي هنا لوزي هناني أبي أخشى نقهناني هي تابخني هي أجيسل اللانجويز خنقلا هي نوني هي أجيسل اللانجويز خنقلا كوجوان في هنقا
شنا نالجن هاي سيجوي هاي سواما قوتشا شنا نالجن هاي هين صحيقة نيبوي
هي خاتنا ما نغلا وتيجي ناس تونغوتشا ناس خاتو تيجي غني ميل هذا سخيتا هاي فرنسية خشو قاهيقا يقوالين غنان قوجيقا
I'd stayed in touch for 20 years, but not been summoned before. In the meantime, I'd retired. I had no BBC helicopter, and a Kogi had learned to use a camera. They wanted to show our scientists the way nature interconnects, so together we constructed a plan.
Hello?
Oh, hello. This is Alana Ereiry.
Yes, hello there.
I'm phoning to confirm our order for thread.
Right, okay. Where will you want it delivered to?
This is something I need to discuss with the Indians. There is a real possibility that they may come to you to collect it.
this the civilized world. It's a sort of joke. Here they have no address, no documents, no identity. They speak no Spanish, have no signatures. For them, shoes would break the connection between humans and the earth. Without shoes, you're not allowed to board a plane.
I think we're going to need 400 kilometers of gold thread.
400 kilometers, yes, okay, fair enough. Is that a fairly precise amount?
There's no way of being really precise about it, is there? I think the question is, how long is a piece of string?
Do come through and let me show you the machine that's made this gold thread, which I've made for you here. Now the thread is made by pushing a core yarn through a pipe here, and the wire laps around it, and it runs onto a reel at the bottom here.
Haba, Guchak, Kasak, She, Kagwashanga, Hadas Rankwanga, Hadashakuanga, Nivun Kajani, Shibaksak Shagunanani, Nukane, Shizanak, Amma Aksha, Wakush Nilakana, Nanki, Kiga Hoja Kanjak.
It all seems so obvious to them. Places are linked by a black thread of invisible thought. Gold is linked to Aluna, it never decays. But what's that to us? We arranged a meeting with a world-renowned astronomer to see if the Kogi picture of the universe can make sense as science.
I'd like to begin by asking the Kogi view of the world, how large it is and its form.
Ne, Ekhana yak mokwa, nahi ekivenga, hat him hameshgotuka, se, havas hatese, arlegets hatese, negchiga havase.
Their picture of the universe is never going to be yours.
No, because I have seen things that they couldn't possibly imagine.
But then what you talk about are things that the rest of the normal human race can't imagine.
It's not that complicated.
Well, I hear the words dark energy.
Ah, well, dark energy is a recent discovery.
When you say dark energy, what are you talking about?
It's a property probably of space that we haven't yet understood, that makes the universe accelerate. And it's a mystery at the moment.
But it fills all space?
It fills all space. It could take another 100 years before we really finally understand what's going on.
iku kagune ay hay kiga akawa magwe iku kagune amma hay hatan yatain ka saka zumaya amma iku kana nasan hay eswama hatan pa ku chi wa kama gatsha zumaya amma cheku enyeki aguma zaiga.
And these nodes are intersections with the material world and the darkness, is that right? I'm trying to understand whether the Kogi can grasp the idea of learning something new from an instrument like a telescope, the concept of discovery.
I think that their notion of acquiring knowledge is the opposite of ours. I think our notion is that each generation knows more than the one before. And theirs is that each generation knows less than the one before.
No, some reason he Shinanaji to him ay Jactina Chapana I Tungwa Sunze, na his Nakahikine Tungwa Sunze Saka Eka ay Makia Tabahan Hagitung ay Guasunze Nugne Chinilakana Henki Nahiki Hikin Koi Ne Alnuski Tunghana Heni Iki Hata Hen Hina Abahana na Kogi Heni Aluna Hikine Hiki Nizanguz na Tungwa Sunze.
Here he is in London learning completely new things that he couldn't possibly have imagined in his village. Most people would say that experience changes you, maybe irreversibly. But I don't get that impression looking at the Mama. I get the impression that he has a vision and his purpose is to tell us that vision, and that's why he's here. What we see through the telescope, so this is a picture of a small part of the sky, and what we see is lots of systems of stars that we couldn't see without the telescope.
And then let's see him. Thank you.
That's a star, yeah. That is one star by itself. Mama has found the one star in this, a single isolated star in this picture straight away.
That's
right.
But we cannot see it.
Why couldn't we learn from them?
Ai Fransai akhajukahiga ikwadinga nangulita ai parecerente akhajukahiga ikwadinga nangulita.
Set out to trace a black line along the shore, joining specific sites by the mouths of the rivers. These, they say, connect directly with locations on the mountain and are where they used to do their work before the modern world took over and changed things.
Enuk, nature, haba, hate, to hate.
The sites may have been destroyed, but that's the point of the journey. The gold thread will be laid. The hidden line will be revealed.
Zungkagaykun kanana ay swama sulbaka heka gazabika hukumaj nabguji wanuka swama nauka heka fakakuha nekaiga ki hanye enyaga guga kunalaksa kukia pega pana hanye e nuksuzwa ekiga hen ijbe kadzabika
Eswama means place of authority. The Kogi believe that's how nature operates. Eswamas in the mountain have direct linkage to places on the shore. The Kogi told me before about token objects they exchanged between the mountain and the shore, but I'd thought this was symbolic.
Nibakaja nufuz ga peka zabing kwa da haba hanga kasa ga Aluna shudama zunkawashi gunda peka zabing gunda Nasi giki enyi sugi zan sunu go chaka enyi shudama na jigunda ge teka luka Sigi kinas kinana sugi zan sunu leel qaluqa
Kika henga Aluna hangotay kazangay nuka hangotay.
Mixing the burned, crushed shells with water produces lime. That makes a paste in their mouths that Kogi men say connects them to the source of life. That paste is rubbed off the stick onto the top of the sugi.
Nogana toijawa zinswin nuka ay begitek loga cheke Aluna enyi shulama gagun Nogana toy zinswin luka kaltamba ay gote guchek shulama kalte akhajuka gote luka
Enyi ay nugna zinkoina sugi Arde kachi jinki nokshi Guchikiga nuka wakwadika kuka zuka achakwadika kuka hamidiga bazingaji nukachi nokshi
Ay kishi kwan kata.
Ake katan. Haba dagwi haba nugan.
Haba kama dagwi nugan.
Akang Mili na laki ng guwan. Doba ko siya kul guwan. Washington Hade Yaw at sabi kanane. Nay hinanadzi kaya ki Mili akasing pana Akipana Nuk Kung ako tsake Hanya kanapana guha
Nasminga kia hiya vega tsena nene ang
Aguna ga tsage tay jo singa bichakay
Amaksina Kiga Sabachaka miya je Sadzi Nukatun kakwanki Mokwak derde ki
أينامك ندجامك جئنك أي أما هنشامك نقه أجيك قوامك نقه توا إنزنك أي سنهانقنا نيجا ندكي أي نغنا أي أما خويشكوا توقع إنزنك تشيننا ندقني أقي إنكي هيكي ني أكو جين أقي ني ندقني توكي.
Why they want younger brother to see this? What is the point? What do you think younger brother will... How will this change younger brother? I don't understand.
To guche ai ungu kana danki to ai kiga ta iki akoje a chiga ka to ai gwabash gabani gabanau ne kage kiga ta haki sha ko haga bakalga arminga kinani adanya da tongshanga zunga tsakhe ai nu seginga ne mi haba ne gwa kwa makshi kiga ta iki ko haga gwa ko da jini ki saki ko da kwaji ai au khazai gwa shi ne da kana hangwina tongshangwan ka
I just can't see that what happens to one specific site is echoed in another miles away. But the mamas say understanding that is the key to healing the world.
Dr. Camilo, you have been working as a doctor in the Sierra for many years. You have got to know the Kogi very well. You've learned a good deal about them, I think.
Desde hace unos 35 años.
Are there things that you have seen a mama or mamas do that you have thought only a mama could do that?
Sí. Por ejemplo, hay un ejemplo que es la cuenca del río Huachaca, que fue una cuenca que fue deforestada por los cultivos ilícitos, después la ganadería se acabó prácticamente, hasta que se las entregaron al cuidado de los indígenas. Y no hace mucho, eso hace 20 años. Hoy en día, caminar uno en esa cuenca es una cosa completamente diferente a como era en ese entonces, que eran potreros, los ríos secándose. Hoy en día son bosques, animales otra vez hay en cantidad, el agua. Son cosas sorprendentes. El problema es que no son consecuencias inmediatas.
Jacinto, what is the plan for today's filming? What do you want to do?
Si vamos allá en ese sitio, los mamos van a estar conectados con los sitios sagrados de la parte alta.
I'm sure all this is very interesting for you. I thought that we were the Kogi wanted to explain that the world is dying because of our actions, and they wanted to make this plain and clear at certain sites along the Black Line. So far, I have seen nothing to indicate that the world is suffering or the world is dying. I have seen nothing to indicate that what happens at these places on the Black Line has anything to do with the health of the world.
Y entonces de pronto ahora yo les voy a decir a ellos que cada uno ponga su yatco para consultar, porque esa es la acción que tenemos que demostrar que sí, verdaderamente tenemos conexión con la naturaleza.
I agree that it would be a good idea for the mamas to
consult and think more about what they're doing and consider how they communicate with us, because they need to show to us that they actually do have something to say. To show that places on the coast are connected to places higher up and directly affect them, we really have to go up the mountain and see the connection.
The lakes that are found high in the mountains are linked to the sea. Bubbles appear in the water, and the bubbles make the connection. That is how we communicate with the lakes and the sea, and with the mother. The waters speak.
The waters speak.
Inagani khajgash enahi hinajkhana ji amagba natum khagujikh nan mai ho emujigba abanu khaudin gujikhan abanu khaudin gujikhan ja nadagali nak khaygan koy alen toguna habaza ku khatobal heykizna kuwanki nani ko yaga yabazin kwa khadziga ay hakika taji zna kon to na lagali nak hay amma khbayka ti ite nawni nani ne to lo jiya ko to gala kinu kha abayan gu haba hangu gaw na manja ay awon yakbaynan gon na manja nam مولاتو موديغا باش خباش كوا شوي اتشا من قدي يا
I'm sorry, but the bubbles don't speak to us. We have to see the connection with an Islam. Jacinto, ¿qué hay? What is our first possible date for going up the mountain?
Y entonces, última hora, vimos algunos grupos ilegales en la Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. Ya saben que van a subir un grupo de extranjeros. Entonces, es peligroso para nosotros.
Right. Obviously, we must cancel. We can't take the risk of going anywhere dangerous. How long will it take him to get up there, find things out, come back down? We dare not fly up the mountain, even though we have a helicopter for the day.
ويا خوا انشي ايزو كيبو لمينا لكي نغنى تسنقدا مولاتاتشي ايزاتشي مقالاتشي لاكوتشي اي ويا خوا زاجمي اي اغات نهنجين غاكي تدوى بالنشي هانا وتنو وتقطو كيتو زي خدزيقاي جانغوا كيروبولو كينكي زاديموتشي
The indigenous tribes are so alarmed that they walked for days from communities on the world's highest coastal mountain to reach this site on the shore. Developers have dug a trench to drain the lagoons here. mangrove swamps teeming with life. The construction company says that building a port here is necessary for Colombia's growing mining industry and will create 5,000 new jobs.
Es un plano del esquema de ordenamiento territorial del municipio de Bulla. El sitio que ellos llaman Jucurba está a 12 kilómetros del occidente de esta línea. Aquí no existen zonas de pagamento, no existen comunidades indígenas.
Usted que no conoce, nosotros somos dueños, estamos reclamando. ¿Y qué hace tú acá?
Bueno.
De años no, de 500 años por allá.
Yo lo respeto inmensamente.
أما نقول تصانيك جازم يخبر لك بعد وتشغزنك ني خلاشاني ناخذك مطلشاني ناخذك قرشاتشاني ناخذك نغلا بعد
Hawas gato na kang kalong. Gato na kang kalong. Bunay na hay cookie.
Ni khawinjan hagle khay ni mama khazza binga gole gugada khane ni ai hawa khagi sunga ne hi ni atol sham khale yappa. Engo kocha hugu kide.
¿Por qué estamos acá?
Nalang ni khadagatanan ni man ahu khakut mo kun naki ni nafshaqtin ha zak gwasha naski hekinu khana malay tung sai shizak akaygi zagasha heki kaga hai hatakoi mayle mijia huji migaganga Hagen mitsigwa kushija shuija tua. Nangucha saimatu enjini ni zabatu kane hinak shahi nalzgana. Haki.
Well, it's a beautiful day down here on the coast of Colombia, and behind me there's the snow visible on the mountain peaks of the Sierra Nevada. And it seems that the guerrillas have melted away like snowmen. The army is saying that they'll fly us up. The only problem is, this is the third day we've been waiting for the army helicopter because the weather has been lousy. So, our schedule's fallen apart. We're not at all sure what we're doing or how we continue. We hope that a helicopter is going to turn up today. It looks very good here, but apparently the weather where the helicopter is taking off from isn't so good. So, we'll see what happens.
nothing else to do, the mamas have time for a Caribbean beach party. But they also consult the bubbles.
Wachakash kaha. Aina. Heka hakiwad heka huluniki heka. Mkwai. Ya ainga haukatukwa haukajahuka gunay. Nature. Habaga kutuka. Chakaingi hichi haba.
Mamas have restored the forest upriver, but at the estuaries, professionals are in charge.
Aman, I would like you to explain to the mama what your view is of damage to the river estuaries.
Yo soy biólogo y toda mi vida trabajé con peces de agua dulce. Los ríos sí son como una unidad, pero es una unidad que fluye, que se mueve, pero se mueve en una dirección. Y hay ciertos efectos que son muy claros, de arriba a abajo, pero hay otros que son mucho menos claros de abajo a arriba. ¿Por qué? Porque no hay ninguna circunstancia que traslade ese efecto hacia arriba. El efecto hacia abajo es lógico, lo traslada el agua. Entonces, muchas cosas, la erosión, la deforestación, las partes altas, tienen efectos sobre las partes bajas, pero lo contrario no es muy evidente. Es más, no es evidente desde un punto de vista.
هكيلك تنكو شتجاني تشونك ما يبيجون هذا شتجاني تشونك هي أخذ شتجاني قلنا هذاها نغينك جوهتوا هيكي أكوبنا نكيز كشا تو ناس كي ولا تشغل ناس ولا تشغل هي شتجاني تو جدبيك وخاف ذاك أيزو نيولو كي أكونا أتاك كوي نقي كي بينو إنش نقي قلب واشن جريمة ذيك هي أغنينا جريمة أي إن تشوي جانش كوجي تسجع إيكي تو نكاح النو كي يخا قد واحد جبناك واحد جاني ميليون أي شاتشالي نلقنا مروه ونسكي أبين جميعين ميلي أخبارهم وشان شيخ زكيه.
Bueno, pero no explicó en qué forma ocurre. Es decir, la conexión de las lagunas de arriba a las de abajo es obvia. El agua corre hacia abajo y el agua lleva cosas. Pero, ¿qué lleva las cosas de vuelta de las lagunas de abajo a las de arriba?
Bueno, hoy, sin que van, hoy, hay que había pana, hay que guananar, había pana, como de tu no callas no, una gente es que México. Sakinazi nadaki mi hanzi gaigaha ni khadaze guha mi hanzi ni hanki hay huyaqdo mi hanzi zaini hanki ni hay alen tunkaki mi hanzi jini ni zabi khatocha hay haba kijuqa huya khawa shenta abuje baqa abuje gatsai ijogen hay ni ranki hay sopak panu kani ranki ata miyan kagaiga shaka haba kijuka kaiga hayne alen kaiga aguga no ka ginichi na dini ke hay ki mijel no hanak gone no ga eka hui guga ka gitin gai mi ka hui je kabaka hui je tuba gitin go gucha zengar de gejak
nel de geles na ngok ناس إيه ناس تونش إيه مع تونش النيتش زي جاغو النقط
그거 시우다마 가풀레 자마 그자 마시키 나슨 아이 그거 자해 증가하냐 저 사이누카 아이 칼다 고이즈 차키 무지가 자자 둘다샤키 이제 무지가 hin
신앙 날진 하이 사이주에 아이 행사 해카 니보에 자지모에 해카이샤누카 해카이샤누카 예 치 상칸다 이놈 칸에가 저기 쩍게 아이 소파가 받고 아반 유순이 하다 내가 받은 시와 아반 유순이 나가 아유치 하바 나가 tenok 아니 지가 왔지 뭐니 컴파니아 카스가 키 아쿠아 에카 후푸도 에키 아쿠아 왕고 타한키 야해 이자 에카 부하니 착하바 하니 순이 소파 하약 바쿠 니와 타이마 악바쿠 하바 하는 둘라시카 악바쿠아데 한가스 하니 카만키 니 악샤 ngoy ha니 ka kangwa ah no alang gede hen mi ben ko kahnya bocek sama to hen ang nay kami men ko ay ahi habak agi sa panan bai wen kana hen men ni khan ay nay hatan yarak su ha ni khan gunan ni khamane ya hen ki alusani ne henan alusani ne henan asanjine zananak asanjine kanan gojeznak ya bocek hiyanat ini hin panane bocek hikiga ay gang bocek nakwole
وخماي نانيكي قولما دولجيش ميتشيخ ناسنكي هانيوبانا دولجيش غتشيخ نوغانا هاي قيقب قايي باي نوغي تشيخ لقاكي هانيوغان غتشيخ شولاما ايني هابانا دولجيش شيهي خلوق
Gunene hina nazi miluka akaitua iskwazinga kalukane hina nazi sinazi kana hina nazi lakaiki chunagze gunene kagamailis aki imam iqwazi to hakina gozi chunagze
habas nigi la khayba kshenki na chakuni lutsa la laya na ko hasa manhi وجدني أتوقع تكون كم وتقعد دولة خلوه خلنا نعم وخا سنتي بدها هي وين كيما قلتي لكن تيجا وين خطيجا فانت يا بس أقولك حاجة كم
يجي كنان نوقعنا أي سوما ساي نغني وقهنا نادي كنا ذاك هاي هي إنا خديده هينا خديدنا أي قي يجوا خزيكوا هي ناخد أي خلقة إين دولاشين خلقة إيخا سنيجا خلقة أرواتش خلقة نوي هوي نوقة أي خطة هاي مياغاتي دولاش تغي خطة دولاشا نجني خزيقة نقصوزة أولك هاي نجي كوكوا هذا هاني خيهانا ويسكو خجاي أي خجاي
ساكي أي ميكبيا كنا لكي Ai zuqabalazira na uni hubaleti mawalde migabiak. Ave nuqama qudira ki huzi mayate kuyaba migabiapana shqagakwe. Aini magazahecha guapanehan aizu Aluna muleto kuyaba migabaina khasa huwa ztana ainuha ijik ztu azheita wakwe. Azheita makochiga ganuha uni zitu guchiga kai guinui chengsha shibala manakwisha guin wakwa uni zitu ngwasinze. Eikimi halige togechiga gakwa aituhin jawa zana na migahon gwajini ni aiga ma hauhajiraya na lagale sai mon taize ga cigarna ni ha miya tune na zaka aina hau ai khatoni ma hulok sha gwe khanki sai kugwa sa khanga ba su mimi ga khongo jiniki miawati enyi mare ai kimi khalaishi enyi joshinga magaza khacha gotugo chigarna ya ga ko isabi makodira yaga tiya nawa jawa henyi kuhazi mnukama kodini jini na hubadaji magaza khacha gotoga ko. Aini jini ai hubadaji nagazakacha gugale nale aini jini askaita wala charzna kanuse maninga nistunku naklegaki uba abu chigabanga uba najishanu kha nak wachiga aikigo togachiga achaganu mama hai na yatai nuka tungo juga inale inki hi kiga tsene ngwe kha nan kapana chiga saki jini inki makako ine ubang na kan naklay.
Well, this is the third night of our 2-day visit to the Seswana. We're not quite sure why we're still here. We needed to move on, and to do that we needed mules and a helicopter. Mules to carry food and baggage, and a helicopter to carry the camera equipment. We got the mules. We didn't get the helicopter, and we don't know why. We have satellite phones, but they're not really working. All that we can do is receive text messages. Why does your phone say it's 1728? Have you noticed that? And so far we have had 2. We believe they come from somewhere in the 21st century, but they are a bit mysterious. We got a text message this morning which said that the helicopter was about to take off. That was at 8:30 this morning. We waited, and we're still waiting. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Naz kajo na salgwan Washington ko ne nuabi kwai inabulo enye nabulo enye ki mushinga ungu kalga mureto geha ya uchi joni nesun kanak tsurwan to sai matu enye akanga enye akuhangu hana shasha to achipana panangomine hiki zaigarnu Hanyet ni hen en tanane en yahbuna ne kizabatuk. En yahbuna ne kizabatuk. No, bueno. Uche santamanta ay ni atuqa tuhanqa atuqa buqam man yahbuna ne. Hen yahbuna ne. Neche sanqadan gaya gata ki kharbeziko. Doy mu koy khaqteno gaya agata ki kharbeziko. Segini kemarin, bersih berit. Terus saya ngotot ik, astro. Waktu aku, ya sekigu hen tu iya ajikannya. Haring koyo atau ya. Hai kegalanya ni miaki kanagem. Saya kata maklum dah. Angna angkakut katung. Pak kaji hai aji kepanen nak ustik kana tengah tu benar ni. Kaji nelaji ni pakun kan luar orang kasar dah buat tu bal. Ya. Nah. Hanya kerja gua.
The Kogi say that damage at the bottom of the rivers, at the river mouths, affects the system up here. Do you believe that?
No creo, sé, porque todo lo que puedes hacer a un ecosistema arriba afecta el funcionamiento de abajo, y lo que funciona abajo también, como están actuando, afecta el funcionamiento de arriba. En este lago está cambiando la vegetación. Han sembrado especies de otros países, eucaliptos, cipreses, alrededor de la laguna. Esta vegetación evapora rápidamente el agua y afecta y compite con las especies de niebla. Estas nubes que llegan de las vertientes enfrían el agua y la condensan y escurre por los troncos y se acumulan en las rocas. Estas rocas son rocas madre, rocas de arenas que acumulan el agua como una esponja y sueltan esa agua abajo en las vertientes. Vemos que no solamente los ríos son entes muertos, son entes que están relacionándose con la fauna, con las aves, todo el proceso de dispersión de semillas, por ejemplo, se da de arriba abajo y de abajo arriba. También todo el tema de algunas especies que no sabemos por qué se encuentran arriba, como por ejemplo peces en las zonas de lagunas. Muchas veces se ha visto por trabajos que están asociados a migraciones de aves que llevan huevos de pescados en sus alas. Es por eso que en muchos países, por ejemplo como España, estas teorías han cambiado la forma de funcionar. Especialmente se están desarrollando trabajos para descanalizar los ríos que han sido canalizados en las partes bajas para mejorar el funcionamiento de los acuíferos en las partes altas.
It was beginning to fit together, and we'd had some good news. A world leader in marine biology had actually arrived on the coast to look at the sites and meet the mothers.
Well, one of the things that I'm very interested in is the way in which the Kogi view the natural world.
No kaiga ni agatse abiaqtaina dajika ni agatse ni nuk bucha ni jagache ko abiaqduqa yishu.
The Kogi talk in quite a mystical way about the connections between the sea, the rivers, the lakes, the land. I can't see how that makes sense to a scientist.
Well, it makes a huge amount of sense, particularly here on the northern coast of Colombia. The Kogi talk about threads between these systems. Effectively, those systems really are very strongly connected.
Kani haja umaina gate heki nuka heki jini na agzai buchaketa saima to.
All along this coast, the development has disrupted the flow of water from the land towards the sea, and this has caused big problems in the whole area because of the very high evaporation caused by the heat. You end up with very large quantities of salt in the ground, which often kills the vegetation.
Pagone ay tunye ay tuki gabang ka ay wakajene gabang ka kalgan nagchak sagi ay bueno pala pagzakwa nasminga ki heki zana na hangwa no kan koy doy han namaga nasin bukaga han niga.
Along this stretch of coastline in Colombia, you almost have in microcosm what is happening elsewhere in the Caribbean and also elsewhere on the planet. They're viewed that all these activities are really having a serious impact at a larger scale are quite right.
Fayabe naz sugi game hin zablache ni hin ganga no wanga zablache hin buka gatanche kiga shekwan nga kaya carbon ayo khani shekwa agna koya pagapan. mang hai ga mang taga hai ga kada ya hadi kan sha hankali edecek.
A eso, esta operación hacemos nosotros, andamos vaqueando. Bueno, ya sacamos la olla esta, se le saca la tierra, así.
Un huesca zalguanga, bisaga zalguanga, zalguanga kagaba, hanna, Kogi gitsahaba isha no khajang ate gwen, hanyenak ekiga kwen, nukane kaga konjen he, guha, mailig nuak nabagisa hanchak zagajak kotwa, kagaba washikia gwenak.
Están enterradas. No, para topar una prenda de esas, hay es que trabajar por lo menos 4, 5, 6 meses para de pronto topar una prenda de esas. Y eso estando muy de buena para toparlo. Y si no, no topa nada. Saca por ahí pollitas y otras cosas, pero el oro es trabajoso ya. Pero para ellos sí representa mucho. Porque eso es de los antepasados de ellos. Los legítimos dueños de esas prendas son ellos. No son los particulares. Pero como todo en la vida es trabajo, uno la busca para poder sobrevivir.
Meski gitse, amagbai gitse tola chekton ga kugay na kagaba gwashi, hani gizan ga kugay jan na chek ma ni kamalesh ama maka ma gawm de jihi kagaba gwashi kya bayna. Nagale guttamil khashana wa jamil qada, anyeki nas tola chek kuki gitse nen shanga kugay jan na bayn qahana na nagwe.
No, pues yo al mamo le diría que a nosotros pues que nos disculpe.
Ay min guaq ay kiwaq akwaznak akank. Hadi nahi. Hadi qagir. Je kwalinga. Ay qasnga khakku je kwan. Nqana nalaqs twasalina. أقاي اللين شامي هنجي كيها هذا أكون قلقنا جتشقتوا ميا جي قيا جي كل قصنو ما نجي كو هنجو قلنا أسبوعنا ميجرنا.
Bueno, para mí, las guacamayas han dicho es por la destrucción de la naturaleza, que ya ellas no tienen a dónde sobrevivir, no tienen un paradero para llegar. Aquí hay un bosque para llegar, donde hayan semillas para ellas comer. Para mí es eso. Yo creo que por el asunto de la huaca no.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
Okay, fine. We've just managed to log on to Skype. You can hear us?
Yes, we can hear you, and please send my greetings from the Zoological Society of London.
نزدو لمخشخهم وبميلين قوي وانا انكي صينا لنغاكي النباء أقل نقانا عيني النباء حتى أجيتي نقا قونا نغني قان ناوقا جيكو خميلي ناوقا نقا تيرلقا.
In conservation, we have a problem because we tend to conserve an area without much thought to the special places in a geological time scale. So for species, there are areas that are like a refuge, which through geologic time have been extremely important for them to survive. And on the short term, we may remove these areas, and there may be no big effect. But in the long term, through history, the species can't persist when those special zones have disappeared. So in many ways, we're looking for much the same thing, is to understand where exactly these special sites are. We have to better understand connectivity, and right now we have a very basic understanding of how things interact and affect each other. And I believe that this is essential for our future security, to understand these special sites, to ensure that they're conserved.
Jonathan,
Yes.
I want to try moving the computer to another location while we continue talking, if that's all right. See if it works any better. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine.
The connection seems to be holding, and when I turn the computer around, you may be able to see the dolphins leaping, which are paying attention to this conversation, taking some degree of interest.
Well, it's an important one.
It is very extraordinary to hear that these kind of origin sites that the Indians are talking about make sense to you as well.
This will come as a surprise, certainly comes as a surprise to me, and I think will come as a surprise to a lot of people.
I don't find it such a surprise, really, though. I mean, people living with nature understand a lot more about it, obviously, than a world that has become much and really disconnected from it. Living with nature, you realize that certain species have certain strongholds or certain refuge areas that are essential to them. They're telling us something from their experience, which we should easily recognize, but for some reason we find it very difficult. And I think it's very important to have that message. And they're the ones that are going to know these particular areas in the forest that will be important for the long-term survival of species. So I think we have much to learn from them.
The final estuary, the final place to lay the thread, Ciénaga Grande, the Great Lagoon.
Kudra pakwana, wachakina mkwai, iya khasha panane, akhanki aya den gada heka maya den kanane, wachakka, anchuwa kazi pakwana ne nuk, pani.
I think this really illustrates the Kogi concept of threads between different parts of this ecosystem.
Okay.
Kasa kajin shulama shi sai kajin zinkawashe gun. Gunin ne kai ga haba hai tur na kuce khanate. Nogana kai ga jiyo hai tur na gunfal.
Gold does not decay.
Does not decay. Eswamas were dressed in gold.
Eswamas were dressed in gold. Now it is wealth.
Now it is wealth, and has all been plundered. This was the material bridge to life, vitalizing the water. The Eswamas are stripped. The water dries out. How will we live?
How will we live?
I thought the journey was over. But now the mamas took over the filming, simply saying that without hope, all this would be pointless.
أعزقيتك نلاكي إكيد بقبقة بونغا
Very question. I very question. Ain't very question. Poco de kayo, very question. De kayo. De hanya haba aksano go ka. Aksano go. Very poco de ka. Ain't go na da kiki. Tanya na very question. Very equal. No, le zik. Los kino kay hanga, kay so hang. Akana kay ko kano. Askaka.
I thought this was the mama's journey, and I would film what happened to them. But in fact, they were taking me on a journey. they see a possibility of hope if we listen.
She